Hi guys, on this episode of Cookin' in Country, we're gonna make chicken tortilla soup. It's again at fall, we're going into the winter months, and this is a soup full of fresh veggies. It's got lots of garlic and a lot of good things to keep you healthy, and it's just a really comforting soup. And over the years, I've tried different things. I've really kind of figured out what mojo works for us. You can add different vegetables to this if you want. The trick is, get a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store.
Rotisserie chicken.
It's Shane's favorite thing on the planet. They're super juicy, it's already cooked for you, and that just kind of takes a step out of it. So you can make it pretty quickly, make a big pot, have leftovers for lunch, take with you to work, and it's pretty great. What's your favorite thing about this soup?
Chicken.
He loves chicken.
I love chicken.
It is a love affair with chicken.
I actually love eating the skin off the chicken while you're getting it ready.
It's kind of like part of what we do. So first thing we want to do is we're going to roast some of the vegetables. So we've got a couple of Poblano peppers that are delicious because they add smokiness. We've got tomatillos. I love tomatillos. Fresh, roasted, they just add a freshness to anything that you're going to make.
Tomatillos are great.
Tomatillo, oh my God. And wow. And then jalapeños. So I always roast two. I don't necessarily use both of them. It depends on how hot you want your soup to be, but that's just kind of like you got extra. So my oven's at 500 degrees. I'm gonna plop these in while we do everything else so they can get nice and roasty.
Side note, our dog Loretta.
She's going crazy in the background.
She found her toy and she decided right now is a good time to play with it.
So she's tossing her little stuffed hedgehog around like a little puppy. It's pretty adorable.
Yes.
But you hear that jingle, that's what that is. All right, so we're gonna cut up our veggies. There she goes. We've got celery. Okay, so we've got the veggies in the oven that are roasting. Now we're gonna cut up the fresh veggies. Our onions, our garlic, we've got carrot and celery. I like the tomatoes that are on the vine because I just feel like they're more flavorful. Beefsteak tomatoes are kind of mealy, and these are really juicy. I like how you're like, yes, they're totally mealy, but you don't know what I'm talking about. We've got our seasoning, so we've got a little bit of paprika, some cumin, some ground thyme. You can use fresh thyme, garlic, salt, and pepper, and our rotisserie chicken. Some people like to add corn to this. I'm not a huge corn in my soup person, so we omit the corn. So we're gonna cut up our tomatoes. We're gonna actually just make them cubes. We're gonna dice those up, and it's gonna be pretty simple. So about this size. And they're gonna cook down in the soup and just add a nice juiciness to it.
One more tomato.
Tomato, Schmepperbell Incorporated. Give us any chance, we'll take it. This isn't gonna fit. Give us any room, make it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way. All right, so we've got our tomatoes chopped up. Now we're gonna cut up our celery and our carrots. So you gotta get a nice big carrot, let's peel her up. We're gonna cut the dirty ends off our celery and we're gonna get that going.
No one likes the dirty ends.
Nobody likes the dirty ends of the celery. And carrots are nice because they're really good for you. Everything in this soup is really healthy.
Is it true if you eat too many carrots you turn orange?
I don't know. I feel like that's something you just made up.
Me? Make up something? I don't think so, ever.
But I do know that sometimes there's some carrots that are like weirdly juicy, and my fingers have turned orange before.
Why would you eat?
So
maybe you were turning into a carrot.
I was. Have you ever seen Trolls 2, where everybody turns into plants?
Yes.
I feel like maybe that's what's happening.
Edward Carrot Hands, the new movie Spectacular.
I just had the vision of like carrot fingers. So we want to chop up and dice the carrots so they're nice small pieces. For the celery, same thing, cut off the ends. I'll cut them right down the middle. So you don't want like really big pieces of celery. I don't know, it's kind of gross. But the celery's great. It adds a freshness to it. Celery's cool. It's mostly water.
One of my favorite childhood memories was when I was in Boy Scouts and we had ants on a log, celery with peanut butter
and raisins.
Well, they would put raisins on. I'd pick them out.
I was going to say raisins are kind of gross.
Yeah.
They have a weird texture.
I didn't want to eat the ants.
Nope. You've been a lover of nature since you were a kid.
That's true.
All right, so now we're gonna go over to our garlic and onions. I like just a white onion is great. White onions in like any sort of like Mexican flavor thing I think just tastes better. Also good on hot dogs. Are you hungry?
Hey, watching you cook like this always makes me hungry because you're so good.
Oh, thank you.
But I just love hot dogs. Side note.
Okay, top 3 hot dog places.
Well, I had the wonderful privilege of living in Los Angeles, and there are some really good hot dog places. So my favorite is Pink's in Hollywood. And then my second favorite is that place we went to in Charleston.
Cosmic Dog.
Cosmic Dog. That was phenomenal.
That place, I'm not a huge hot dog person, and Cosmic Dog, that place slayed.
Oh my gosh. And you drive like an hour out of Charleston, and it's like in this like small town, and it was amazing.
It was pouring rain. It was like kind of the coolest day. It was like our last day there. And then chili dogs.
And then my third favorite would be, I don't even know if they're around anymore, but it's a place on Hollywood Boulevard called Scooby's. I used to live like right across the street, and anytime I could muster up some money back in the day, I'd go down and get a Scooby dog. They were like in garlic bread.
Yum.
Oh, so good.
Yum, yum.
We digress.
But we're not making hot dogs, we're making tortilla soup.
Darn.
I can hear the tomatillos in the oven kind of like bursting. I'm gonna check on them. Oh yeah, it's starting to get good. So you wanna roast those until they get nice and brown. Depending on your oven, it might take 10 minutes. I'm gonna leave them in there for another few, and then I'm probably gonna broil the top to get them all like charred and roasty. Now we're gonna dice our garlic.
So these videos take a lot of time to set up and to make them happen, and our animals are very
they're over it.
They're over it. They have looks on their faces like they're ready to just knock over all the cameras and
revolt.
And revolt.
They're like, you haven't paid attention to us at all today. So I have like 5 or 6 cloves of garlic going on here, and they're pretty big ones. Again, we love garlic. If you're not crazy garlic person, you can use 1 or 2, and that's probably plenty. I always up the garlic game when it's the colder months too, just to kind of like help combat any colds that might come. And we all know that this year is pretty weird with all that. I don't know, something going on called a...
I haven't heard anything.
Oh, okay.
So cool.
That's a pile of garlic.
That's a yummy pile of garlic.
It's so sticky. Okay, we've got all our veggies cut, our veggies are roasting, and now the final process is to shred up la rotisserie chicken and get it ready to drop into the soup when we're ready. I had mine in the fridge, so the natural chicken juices have kind of coagulated. That's a really gross word, but it's the true word, and it's important that we keep those juices because they're a really important part of the yumminess of the soup. So, to recap, we've got our veggies roasting. We've cut up our tomatoes, our garlic, our onions, our celery, our carrots, taken the skin off this guy. I don't think you want this, it's kind of rubbery. You want to try it?
Sure.
A little bit rubbery.
Hello, Clarice.
Oh my gosh. Holy crap. Awesome. So we're just gonna rip the chicken right off here. You're gonna get your hands in there. If that freaks you out, you could probably cut it off, but it's cold, it's been in the fridge, it's cooked. My hands are washed. So we're gonna get all that good white meat off. And then I'm gonna go into the thighs and get all of that.
You know how to show me you love me.
Your love language is chicken. So it's important to know your partner's love language. Some people it's hugging and touch, some it's verbal.
Mine's chicken.
And I learned that years ago.
Fried chicken, roasted chicken. I'm kind of like, Forrest Gump's buddy,
With shrimp.
Yeah.
I definitely know that if I want to make him happy, it will include some form of chicken. And I'm cool with that. So we're just waiting on our veggies to be done roasting. Then we're going to take them out and we're going to just pulse them in a small food processor. Some people might chop them up, but I like it all pulsed together because the juices of the tomatillo add to the broth. And then it's not just a really thin soup, it kind of thickens the broth up a little bit.
Those are looking good.
Yes, they are. It's nice when there's char because it adds to the smokiness. This is what I do when I wait for the veggies to be roasted.
Might keep that in. Escape into the oldies.
All right, we're going to take our veggies out.
Those look amazing.
Sizzle.
Sizzle. It's like pulsing.
I know. I know. So we're going to give them just a second. We're going to throw them in here. We're going to pulse these guys all together. It's going to be yum. Get the tomatillos in there, and we'll dump all the juices that have accumulated as well. Because that's what we want, is all the juicy stuff. All right. I think, how spicy do we want our soup? Maybe medium?
I would like a 3.5, please.
On the spicy Richter scale?
Yes. I love Poblanos.
I do too. They're so yummy. Look at all that steam come out. They're so beautiful too. It's all dark green and wonderful.
Nice char.
Thank you. So the char is from the broiler. So I let them roast and then I threw on the broiler for like 3 minutes and that just really hits the top of them nice and good. And if you don't know, the broiler is the top burner and it just goes crazy hot and it's pretty awesome. All right.
I'm learning so much by doing these.
I know, it's cool. You really are. There's a lot of stuff you didn't know. So we're going to dump the rest of those juices in there. I'm going to put my hot pan in here, so be careful. Close this puppy up and just pulse it a few times. So it's okay if it's still chunky. It doesn't have to be, like a puree, but take a look at that. It smells amazing. It smells kind of spicy. It smells fresh. It smells delicious. All right, so now we're gonna head on over to the oven and we're gonna put all this together so we have our awesome chicken tortilla soup. Okay, so now we're gonna assemble our soup. Again, if you haven't noticed, I'm a fan of the Dutch oven. I'm gonna put about a tablespoon of olive oil in here and turn our oven on to just a little more than medium. So we're gonna get the onions and the garlic kind of sauteed off first, then we're gonna add our carrots and our celery. Then we're gonna add our herbs and kind of let that bloom a little bit. And then the tomatoes are kind of pureed, roasted stuff, and then we're gonna add chicken stock and the shredded chicken. So chicken stock is very important. Broth is okay, stock is best. It's thicker, it's more flavorful. About 32 ounces is enough for the soup. You can just get the kind from your store. I like the reduced sodium, or you can make your own. We'll do another video on that because homemade chicken stock is mwah. So we're gonna add in our onions and our garlic. It's my pile of garlic. garlic pie, I love you. I'm gonna mix that around with the olive oil, get that going. So it's gonna sizzle a little bit, and then once we cook that off for a couple minutes, we'll add our carrots and our celery. I love the sizzle sound. Garlic and onions with olive oil. Nothing like it. When you get that smell, it's so fragrant. And then when they get kind of translucent and the garlic starts to brown just a tiny bit, look at that, yum. I mean, I feel like cast iron just does a better job of sauteing things. Well, not for everything, but for this kind of a thing, you really get a little bit more, almost char. So we're going to be playing a song for you guys in a little bit. We're really excited about that, and then we'll have the recipe and the notes below this video.
It's going to be Megan's harmonica debut.
It's true. All right, we're going to add our carrots and our celery. This just helps soften those carrots a little bit. Let that go for a minute or two. So the spices, we've got about a tablespoon of cumin, about a teaspoon of ground thyme, and about a teaspoon of paprika. Paprika adds a smokiness that I really love. You can add or delete depending on how seasoned you like things. We're pretty seasoned people. And then probably about a quarter teaspoon of salt and about a half a teaspoon of cracked pepper. Again, you can add more or less depending on your taste. We're going to go ahead and throw those spices in because I want those to have a chance to kind of coat all the vegetables and bloom, really release their flavor. Oh my god, I wish you guys could smell this. Cumin smells so good when it's all toasty like this. Oh, it's so good.
I think the best part of filming these episodes is the smell of the house after we're done.
So spectacular. Salt and pepper. And see how the veggies are totally getting to be a different color and the onions are brown? It's because of all of the herbs. Now we're going to add our fresh tomatoes. And if you haven't figured it out yet, I like colorful food. So they're going to release their juices in there, and that's going to help everything kind of meld. And I like when a soup has chunks in it that gives it a good bite. You know, it's like those chunks of tomatoes are going to cook down, but it gives you something actually to like have in your face when you're eating it. So we're going to give this a minute, and then we're going to add that delicious puree that we made. You can smell the spice of the jalapeno, but the roasting kind of cooked most of the heat out of it, so you're not going to die when you eat the soup. And look at all those veggies. It's so good for you. All right, now it's time to add our pretty much verde. Oh, look at that. That's so cool. Every bit of that goodness out of there. And let's really get this all stirred up before we add our stock. And by letting these cook for a couple minutes every time we add an ingredient, we're letting all the flavors kind of marry together. All right, this is getting so good. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in our stock. So again, it's 32 ounces of chicken stock. And we're going to really stir it up so everything gets nice and mixed in. Yeah. Now we're going to put in all of our chopped chicken. And what's cool about this is the rotisserie chicken is already cooked and it's juicy, so when the chicken goes in here, it's really just going to kind of break apart, so it's not so much chunks, it becomes more shredded chicken.
now it's really starting to look like a soup.
And here's the cool part. We're gonna throw the lid on it and we're gonna walk away for about 30 minutes. We're gonna put it down to simmer once it comes to a boil, and then that's it. Then it's time to eat.
Hi everybody, it's my turn to sing a song.
It's song time.
And this song's called A Million Lives.
Hope you enjoy.
1, 2, 3, 4.
But I've lived a million different lives. Don't try and tell me how to fight, 'cause I've lived a million different lives. Try and cut me down the sides when you believe in all the lies they say to you. Your soapbox reaches to the sky. You try and cut me down the sides, but you can't.
Okay, our soup is done. We're ready to ladle it into our bowls and top it with some awesomeness. And I don't know about you, but I am excited. So look at all that. There's veggies, chicken, delicious broth. And then we're gonna top it off with a couple of toppings, like tortillas, because it is tortilla soup. Yum. And then we've got all this yummy leftovers for lunch the whole week. So we want to make a little beautiful bed of tortillas right on top. Then they get all nice and squishy inside. We're going to do a dollop of sour cream. Makes it really yummy, and then it kind of cuts a little bit of the heat. A little bit of lime. And I'm just going to rip up a little bit of cilantro. kind of toss that on the top. And now we're ready to go. Hope you enjoy the tortilla soup. Hope you enjoyed the song, and we'll see you next time.